Oh, hey, are we on?
I thought we'd do another 4
minutes. We're only 5 weeks in. Maybe week 17 we'll get this flawless, but we nearly did it.
I like that.
Right then, Baz, how are we, mate?
I'm very well, sir. How are you?
I'm very good. I need to remember that I've got a very powerful podcast microphone in front of me, and I always get overexcited and start to shout. So if you're wearing headphones, I do apologise if I've just basically just burst your eardrums. I do apologise. I'll try and keep my excitement down. So hi. If you haven't joined us before, welcome to our virtual pub. We'll talk about its new name shortly.
Evening.
But yeah, welcome to our virtual pub. We're here every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Exciting news is that we're now live on YouTube as well. I've been trying to get that happening for ages, and then last week it happened and I didn't even know. So nobody saw us on YouTube last week because we didn't tell anyone because we didn't know it was
hello,
working.
YouTube. How are you?
Hello, YouTube.
How are you?
Throughout the night, if you want to send us comments, then fire it through the chat section. Chat section comes up next to us. So yeah, if you are watching on YouTube, send us a message on YouTube because we need to check if that works. Anyway, so you'll be glad to hear that tonight it's not just me and Baz drinking and talking nonsense. We've got somebody else to come and drink and talk nonsense with us. So tonight's guest is somebody who has he can't respond, so I'm going to say what I like. He's pretty much I know he's too modest to say this, but he's pretty much taken TikTok by storm. He's got a phenomenal following, and basically his TikTok profile or his TikTok account is all about words. He's a linguist. I'm going to call him a lexicographer. I'm going to call him TikTok's answer to Susie Dent, even though he doesn't like me calling it doing either of those because he's too modest. But we'll get him on, and I will introduce everybody to Mr. Laurie Knox. Hello, Laurie.
Hello. How's it going, everyone?
Evening.
Very, very good. Right. Before we get into any, Sparkles has messaged us through YouTube. So, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube is open. Right, which is very, very exciting.
Right, end it there. It's a success. End it there.
It's never gone this well so far before. Right, so before we go anywhere, before I introduce you properly and start to speak to you, you're right. You've got a bit of gas there, Baz.
I was just undoing a bottle. Sorry.
Right. So, before we go anywhere, the first question I have to ask everybody who comes into our pub is, what are you drinking?
What are we going for? Always a brew dog. Hazy Jane these days. It always used to be Punk IPA back in the day for me, but Hazy Jane, I've defected now.
What can you? I have made an effort because I know you're really into your craft beers and stuff. So I've made an effort for my first drink, and then I'm going to ditch it and go back to what I normally drink. But can you talk us through what that is?
Hazy Jane.
I'm a craft beer Luddite. I need to understand.
New England IPA. Yeah, I know. I'll be honest. I'm not a big fan of the old. I used to drink them all the time when I was younger. The kind of old school British bitters. I was like the one guy at university who everybody would be having their pints of lager. I'd be insisting on going to a pub where they have it on tap. I was kind of like 60 years old when I was 19. You know, I can't.
With a mug with a handle.
But something just clicked at the age of 23, 24, and I can't drink those anymore now. I have one pint of English style bitter, and that's my night over. I just want to go to sleep, you know. Whereas lighter beers like New England IPAs or lagers, yeah, you can keep going. You can have a fun night, but yeah, bitter just destroys me. But anyway, sorry, you did ask. Hazy Jane, it's it's a light IPA.
Light IPA. Well, I'm the same actually because when I first started drinking in pubs, when I first started drinking in pubs, there's no one listening. When I was about 16 and I was going to watch Berry, I was hanging around with a lot of older kids. They were all old enough to drink, and I was a regular in the pub that you go into before the game for about 2.5 years before my 18th birthday. Knew everybody, and everyone thought I was over 18. And I said to the landlady on my 18th, "Are you going to buy me a drink? It's my birthday." She said, "How old are you?" And I went, "I'm 18. She went, "You're barred." So she literally barred me for 2.5 years of retrospective illegal drinking.
Wow.
But anyway, the point was because I was hanging around with all these lads who were older than me. It was when Boddington's in the can just came out, and bitter was cool for a bit, and obviously Boddington's was local to me. So I used to loads of my mates drank lager, and I used to drink bitter for years and years and years. And then I went on holiday with my mate to Germany, and I've never looked back. It's always been lager since then.
Really?
But I'll show you what I'm drinking tonight in honor of you, because I knew you were coming on, and I know you like your IPAs and your. So I've gone very local. Let's see if I can get it out of the light. So I've gone very local with Kinniger. Well, I don't know how that's how you spell it. And it's called Bucket and Spade Construction. It's Bucket and Spade Session Rye IPA.
Interesting.
I know what the words bucket and spade mean, but apart from that, that's it. So I was hoping, Mr. Words, that... no, anyway, the reason I'm drinking this is that it's brewed literally 10 minutes down the road from here. And the reason I'm only drinking one is A, I'm not sure I'm going to like it, and B, it's £3.50 a can. So
ouch.
So yeah. Oh, so I'll test it live on air.
Ah, nice.
Oh, it's very fruity nose.
I'm the non-beer drinker here. I discovered a while ago that it wasn't the amount of I was drinking; it was the wheat that was in beer that used to set me a bit. So I'm traditionally a rum drinker. It goes with the beard. So.
Yeah, I'm nowhere near cool enough to drink rum. I'm well out of there, mate. So, as soon as I finish this, I'm onto the Milagers. I'm ducking out of that. So let's now we know what we're drinking, which is first I want to ask you is this is the first week. I'm gonna have to go that way.
There it is. You got it.
You spend your whole life on TikTok being the wrong way around, and when you come onto Twitch and it goes the right way around, you get all confused. So I'm going this way. This is the sign for our new pub. It's called the Brace of Readlings. And I know you're very much into your words, but I don't know if you're into your ornithology.
I'm not. No.
Do you know the other name for a reedling?
I haven't. No, I have no idea.
I wish I'd asked you that on the quiz now. It's the other name for a reedling is a bearded tit. So the name of our pub is obviously called the Brace of Readlings because we are a pair of bearded tits.
Bearded tits.
Boom! There you go.
Nice.
Welcome to the podcast.
It doesn't get better than that.
That's a great name, to be fair. I like it. It's
and yeah, I did that as well. I did the graphics. Look at it. I've been a busy lad this week. Okay, so we've got loads of comments coming through. We'll get to those first, but I just want to introduce you. The way we do this is this isn't. I was going to say this isn't Parkinson, but I mean that was probably 3 decades ago. But this isn't Jonathan Ross or Graham Norton or anything like that. So we don't do loads of research. Obviously, I know you because we've had you on the quiz and because I've been following you for a long time on TikTok. So I'm just going to say a few things I know about you, and then you fill in the gaps. Okay?
okay.
And then we'll start to ask you questions, and it'll go from there. So what I know about Laurie is that his TikTok account is enormous, and he's, I think, 680,000 followers.
Something like that. Yes.
Something like that. Just
I know 700's the next milestone. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
These numbers are just ridiculous. Me and Baz were talking about numbers today, and we'll get onto that later. But
it's my favourite thing. We'll get into this.
When numbers get big, they just get too big to comprehend, and it's like that's where you are, mate. That's where you are.
Right.
Also, just before we get going, is we had Joshua Cubed on here 2 weeks ago, and the night he was on here, was it the same night, Baz? It was, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
The same night he was on here, he broke the 1 million followers. So,
sorry, it was a different night, but yeah.
Was it? Anyway, it was shortly afterwards. It was the same week.
yeah.
It was the same week. Oh, it was after the quiz, wasn't it? It was the Friday night.
He has shot up, hasn't he, in the last few? Because I think, I remember looking at him, 6 weeks ago, maybe on 700,000. I saw him today, like 1.2, 1.3, something like that. Yeah, he just boomed.
I'd say these numbers are ridiculous, but we'll come on to that later. Yes. So what I know about you is you are. I'll say my bit, and then you correct anything, and then just give us a bit more detail. Yeah. So this is Laurie Knox. His account on TikTok is Knox Study, which is KNOX Study. He is a linguist. I like to say lexicographer. I like to say TikTok's answer to Susie Dent, because it sounds like something somebody would say on a TV show, and we're pretending this is one of those. And I find I've been following. I get a bit embarrassed because obviously we've communicated, we've been on the quiz, and we're peers stroke friends now. But I always find myself going, I followed you for ages, I promise. But I've followed you for absolutely ages because I love your account, and it's. I would describe it as making grammar, words, derivation of words, what's it called? Etymology and stuff. Making that accessible and cool.
Thank you very much.
Is my opinion of it, because this isn't anything critical of you, and this isn't a personal thing I'm going to say, but I was just like, bearing in mind how many grammar Nazis there are on social media, I'm amazed that something that I really enjoy, that is words and grammar and so on based, has got so big. So do you want to talk us through anything I've left out, and how what's your experience of seeing it the other side of it? Because we've watched you grow from small numbers to big numbers,
right,
and watched all your stuff.
Yeah, in terms of how it grew, I think because I think I got partly a little bit lucky in the fact that I've been meaning to do YouTube I've been wanting to do YouTube for about 5 or 6 years. Never really had the time for it, and I kept looking, thinking, how can I actually do that? How can I do YouTube? And there's nothing I thought that I could have added that wasn't being done already. Okay, some of the bigger teachers, I thought I can do better than this, but it's a tough grind, right? To make that break on YouTube. And then, then when TikTok came along, I downloaded that for a couple of and just basically sat there watching that for a couple of weeks. I kind of noticed, well, wait a second, the stuff I want to do on YouTube, I didn't see anyone doing that on TikTok. All the educational stuff was just. I remember there was one guy in the early days who would kind of jump down, click his fingers, and give facts. I'm not sure what the name of that account, but that. It was all kind of very poppy stuff. And I thought, nobody's actually giving proper educational lectures in 59 seconds. Not that I saw anyway. So, yeah, I think, part of the reason it got big, I think I was one of the first ones to do that kind of stuff, to actually give lectures. Everybody was just dancing and doing that kind of stuff. So to actually give lectures. And also the fact that I try not to take it too seriously. I try to have a dig at Sheffield United and Coldplay, or I used to in all my examples. I've calmed down a bit on that.
Seems reasonable.
I was a two-trick pony, It's like I was trying to push that to the side. Yes, I think just making it fun, So lots of people will comment. I'm just here for the examples. So even if it is something that some very simple piece of English, usually the examples are mildly amusing. So keep people watching. So I think those are two of the reasons why it's done so well.
I mean, that's certainly my experience of it, and yeah, we do have that. So why do you hate Coldplay so much? I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not a massive fan. Or is that just an easy target? Is Chris Martin just a puppy to punch?
Low hanging. I was going to go low hanging fruit, but puppy to punch, that would do. I'm not a big fan of Coldplay. Honestly, I don't hate them as much as I make out. In that, basically, I think I did a funny joke about Coldplay in one of the videos. A few people commented on it and liked it, so it just kind of grew from there. And then they were just my go-to example, Sometimes I don't really have time to sit there planning and thinking too much for an example. Just throw in something negative about Coldplay, just kind of appeal to the masses. So,
does the word pretentious come up quite often in that?
No, but that's a good idea for a video, actually. And Sheffield United, actually, because I've been going through my old videos and uploading them to YouTube in the last week or so. And yes, I got through my first ever Sheffield United joke. It was on the video. I'll leave it to you to guess what the joke was, but it's on the video. Difference between flammable and inflammable. So there we go. And again, people, looked through the comments. A load of people liked it. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm sticking with this one. So I just kind of ran with that as well.
Well, I don't join you on the Sheffield United hatred, I'm afraid. Not that, I don't have anything against either Sheffield Wednesday or Sheffield United. I went to uni in Sheffield, and I've lived very near Bramall Lane. But I do have a massive hatred for Neil Warnock. Because as a Bury fan, Bury played Sheffield United live on TV, and Sheffield United fan Neil Warnock, who was Bury's manager at the time, did his post-match interview in a Sheffield United tie. So that didn't go down well.
No. Wow.
And yeah, if you're into word games, everyone in the chat section, everyone who's watching, can you guess why people call Neil Warnock Colin? If you're into word games, so you do an anagram of Neil Warnock, and take out the letters for Colin and see what you get left with. There you go. There's massive clues there. But yeah, so I do. So yeah, so Sheffield Wednesday. Talk me through that, because as far as I know, you are originally from the Isle of Sheppey, and now you're living in Sevenoaks.
That's correct.
That's a long way from Sheffield.
It is indeed. I made a massive error in 1985. So I was really into football as a kid, and I got the Panini 85. So I didn't really have a natural team to support. Panini 85 sticker album came out, and the first team I completed was Sheffield Wednesday. So I just I support these guys. Obviously, a massive error in hindsight. If only I'd swapped some of those like Peter Shirtlifts for some Brian Robsons and Norman Whitesides, but there we go.
Mate, you know, if you're looking for any sympathy, that I'm the wrong person to look for. You know,
That's true.
I supported a crap team for years, and then somebody stole it. So,
I did notice on your live today that one of the trolls seemed to pop up and say, "We're all Blades, aren't we?"
Oh yes.
Is he a regular?
You must get a few of those.
Yes, but you know, I'm friends with her on TikTok. Yeah, no, I'm friends with a few Sheffield United fans. A couple of them got a little bit moody in the beginning, but most of them seem to see it as good, harmless fun. I'm still probably not going to go out drinking in Sheffield when lockdown's over, to be honest. There is a on the Sheffield United chat forum. There is a post about me. Probably about 6 months ago, I looked up, Googled Knox study, and there's a chat about me, and there's a few people saying, I see this guy, I'm going to knock him out, and things like that, So,
Wow,
I've made it.
Well, one of the reasons that Baz and I like it over here on Twitch and YouTube now is because obviously this is a virtual pub. And you're allowed to drink without hiding it over here. And if you say the odd sweary word, it doesn't matter. It's like a real pub. And for you, you've got the freedom to say the words that I just heard you say with, I'm friends with a few Sheffield United fans, is what you said. So you're free to, you're free to express yourself away from TikTok as well, because there's no way you would have said that on TikTok.
No, some dirty words there. I apologise to any viewers who were offended by that. But this is interesting. So do you feel like you can't drink on your TikTok lives then?
It's something that I've heard. It might only be a rumor, but it's something that I've heard that if people want to cancel you, it's a stick they can beat you with.
Okay.
So I've just never given anyone the opportunity to do it.
It's the same. It's the same with smoking as well. Apparently, it's any one of those things that you could be sort of had up for. So when I'm on a TikTok live, I'm literally like this over the side here, and then we all drink Bang Bang Energy, don't we? When we're on live as well.
So yeah, Baz is happy enough that we're in a virtual pub because he doesn't have to go outside to have a fag. He can just sit one there for anyone who's watching in America, by the way, that's a northern colloquialism for a cigarette. Before I get cancelled off here as well.
The phrase "smoke a fag." That's
that's definitely not that's definitely not TikTokable.
But yeah, no, you know what, I have drank on pretty much every single evening live I've done. I've only recently, in fact, in the last week, I think, started doing lives during the day. I've drank in almost every single live, so I've never really thought about that, to be honest. But
and it's just it was Phil C that put me onto it, and he just said it's not worth it because if somebody wants to, I believe they can do. But over here, in the terms and conditions of Twitch, is
you're like this.
You're allowed to drink. You're just not allowed to drink dangerously. So I'm allowed to drink this, but not whilst unicycling or juggling chainsaws or anything like that. So I'm just going to talk you through my next drink. I started up in the northwest of the far northwest of Ireland with Kinnaga, which is just north of Rathmullen, which is my favourite beach, which is why it's called Bucket and Spade. Okay. I'm going slightly further south to one brewed by an Irishman of the name of Sean McGill.
Nice.
Slightly further south, this one. So that's what I'm getting into. So yeah, more about you, Laurie. Sorry, you don't get this on every podcast, do you?
My word.
Kellogg's. I used to work for Kellogg's, so I used to right. I used to liberate a lot of the freebies from the cupboard. So yes, I've got an ice bucket, so I've got to. Yeah, while we're on, I know it's not quiz night, but does anyone know what that thing's called? That thing, that character. Do you know what his name is?
The character has a name.
He does.
I'm going to say I don't straight away for 1 point.
I'll tell you straight away. It's not interesting enough to wait for the comment section to say. He's called Cornelius. Cornelius the cockerel.
Okay.
Although someone's put dog in the answer, so I'm not sure that's right.
Dog. No, that's my nephew, and that's about as intelligent as his comments get, to be fair. Right. So, So more about you. So we now know where you. Gillian in the comment section has just come out with something that definitely isn't TikTokable.
We can read it though. It says "big green cock." In case anyone's wondering.
We could do more than that. We can highlight it. Here we go.
Oh,
look at what we've done,
Laurie. You'll be amazed by some of the things that's going to happen on here.
Oh, this is just a technical masterclass. So yeah, we know about the TikTok, and so when did you start on TikTok, by the way? Just briefly. Was it similar sort of time to the rest of us?
I think I downloaded it, something like the 15th of January, and the first video was the 29th of January, something.
You're an early adopter.
Oh, yeah, definitely an early adopter. You predate us by, yeah. And you were allowed out in public in those days. That's
right.
Right. So, yes. So the other thing I wanted to talk to you about was one of the only other details I know about you is you spent. So what I want to what I like to do is I like to get people on here from TikTok because obviously it's easy for me to access them. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're really interesting people. They've had big success and stuff like that. But what I like to do with people on TikTok is people kind of know what they see, and that's cool. But I like to talk to people about their life outside of TikTok and the person and, where you come from and the background and all that kind of stuff. Because I think that's really interesting because that's not something that you would address in a 59-second thing about words.
Right.
So we get a little bit about you, but we don't really know you. So, excuse me, that fruity beer from up the road's not doing me any favors. One of the things I do know about you is you spent an awful lot of time in South Korea.
Correct.
Talk us through it. Why did you go there? What is it like? How long did you spend there? You clearly liked it.
I did indeed. Yeah. So my 20s, I spent a lot of time backpacking, just I know from a fairly early age, I really, really wanted to travel. And yeah, so in 2007, I went off to South Korea. I think my original plan was spend a year in South Korea, teach English there. Again, I had no interest in the English language or teaching, but I just thought I'll go out there, do that. It's easy to get a job. And then watch the Beijing Olympics 2008 and then get the Trans-Siberian train back. That was the original plan. But then stayed out there a year and then I enjoyed it. And yeah, one thing led to another. And then I was there for 11 years. So,
Wow.
I met my wife in 2010. So yeah, 3 years into I stayed there. So that gave me the visa, the magic visa. I could do private lessons legally. So yeah, and yeah, what can I say? South Korea is an amazing place. It's before the children came along. Once the children came along, it wasn't such an amazing place. But Seoul is, certainly for younger people. If you like food and alcohol, Seoul is an absolutely phenomenal city. But
I do, but I'm not young.
yeah. You've got older children though, right? So you can probably
mate. I've got a countdown on my phone of to when they go to uni. Don't worry about that. I'm making plans already.
Well, Seoul. There you go. I've just made the plan for you.
There you go. That's it, mate.
Food and drink.
So why is it not a fun place when you've got kids?
So okay, like I remember when they were 3-4 months old. You got the pollution index that they have, like green, yellow, red, and then goes up to purple, dark purple. And once you get to purple, that's where it's dangerous. It's labeled dangerous. Don't let babies and old people out of the house. It's that level. And there was one time where they spent 2 weeks. They didn't leave the front door because the pollution was at dangerous level for literally 2 weeks. So there's that. And as well as that, say leave the house. Well, in Seoul, everybody lives in a flat as well, which I was fine with. But again, small spaces, whereas for a similar money in the UK, you get a much bigger space. You get gardens. It's kind of So there's that, having more space, and as well, the streets are crowded. I mean, the last place I lived at in Seoul, it was just on a standard main road, and that main road had 12 lanes of traffic. That was just very standard, just 20 seconds from my front door kind of thing. And as an environment for bringing up small children, small hyperactive twins, it's not great. It's not great, but
So when you first arrived there, because obviously language is quite a key thing to this podcast, what was your level of speaking Korean? Were you just literally learning it there, or had you done a bit before you arrived?
Before I arrived, I actually learned how to. It's really easy to learn how to read, so I could read really in a really childlike manner, like one syllable every 2 seconds. But Korean is crazy easy to, like, honestly, if I took you. If we met up and we said, okay, let's study from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., I think by the end of the day, you could literally read anything in Korean. You obviously wouldn't know what most of it meant, but you'd be able to read anything. That's just the thing. If you give a medicine bottle to a 7-year-old Korean kid and ask them to read the ingredients, they'll be able to read it phonetically perfectly. Whereas if you give me a medicine bottle and ask me to read the ingredients, I won't know what half of the it's So I learned how to read before I went out there, and I probably knew about 10 words. But
I'm assuming you're fluent now, then.
No, I'm embarrassingly not. I mean, I'm conversational, but no, I'm definitely I couldn't watch the news. Well, I wouldn't understand what was going on in most of the news or anything like that. So. But general day-to-day conversations, sometimes around the house with my wife and kids, we'll speak Korean.
My sister-in-law speaks Mandarin Chinese. I don't know if that's how you say it, but is that a thing, or is it just Mandarin? I don't know. Anyway, she speaks that one, and she teaches it.
Wow.
She's got a job in the local college here, which I was amazed. I mean, the town I live in's got a population of like 19,000. But the local college does Chinese, and there's a lot of. But now she's kind of progressed from that. Her role now is to bring foreign students over, and it's almost becoming like a mini university now. She speaks Chinese, which is she used to teach it as a lecturer as Chinese, but now her job is to bring foreign students over. So half of her job is going when the travel ban wasn't a thing. She'd often be over in China or in India or things, and basically selling the college to get people to come.
Yeah, huge business that. I mean, one place I worked at for a year in Seoul, really, really shady businesses as well, where they had a deal with Coventry University where they gave Coventry students. And so this place basically pretended to be basically said, we're the first year of your university, and this is your kind of English language course before going on to the main thing. And in a really horrible old building with basically like such low costs, and they were charging students whatever it is, 10,000-12,000 pounds a year to go there.
Is that where you taught English?
So I taught in that school for 1 year, yes, and they would then, but it was a disgusting place. Like, I remember one student who's still a good friend of mine now. She wanted to study criminology. She was so passionate about it, and then eventually she changed towards studying, I think it was business. And I asked her, a little bit later, I asked her, why did you change that? And the school was literally pressurizing all the students to change to business studies, because in hindsight, that must have been where they're getting the most money from Coventry University. Like they'll give a certain amount for some really shady stuff when it comes to education and international students. And I don't like that. Ruining a young person's dreams just because you made an extra £1,000, and that's pretty shady stuff.
So you I think I heard you right in that you were saying that when you went over you weren't into the English language until you went over to Korea to teach,
right?
Initially for a year. So what was your background before that? So I mean, obviously everything you do, or everything that we see, is about the English language, and you've got a phenomenal knowledge about it, or at least you you learn enough to do 59 seconds each time. But you seem like you know what you're talking about. Anyway, but yeah, so is that what happened? You really weren't into like linguistics and things like that until you went to a foreign country for 11 years and then came back with this kind of newfound love for the English language?
Yeah, basically, honestly, 2007 when I went over there, I don't think I even knew what an adverb was. That's kind of like my grammatical knowledge was so low. Yeah, and like most native speakers who don't know the ins and outs of the grammar, you know, I could speak. I knew the rules. I don't want to say naturally. Obviously, it's not natural, but you know, with no effort, I would produce sentences that were grammatically perfect. But then when somebody said to me, "Oh, why does this go here and that goes there?" You know, I remember my first year just kind of like, I don't know, it just does. You know, I had no idea. And I suppose it was actually, yeah, and because of that, you know, you do get a lot of English teachers that go out there and do that, and they really don't care. But I don't know, I kind of really, I had a bit of passion for the job. You know, I did really enjoy, still do really enjoy teaching. And yeah, I wanted to get better at it. So, you know, when people are asking, why does that word go here? Why can't we put this word here? You know, I did want to break down the mechanics, try to work out formula for each situation. And yeah, that's. But before that, I was actually an accountant. Would you believe? For a few years. Yeah.
Can we just clarify an actual accountant before we
an
go
actual
any further?
accountant? Yeah.
Okay. Okay, not a TikTok accountant. We're just checking.
I left university, went to KPMG, and did my chartered accountancy exams there, and absolutely hated it. To be honest, yeah, wasn't for me. The office life, no.
Well, you spend most of the time looking at your own shoes, don't you? So.
I hated that sort of stuff as well. I worked for a couple of big multinational corporations, one of which obviously was Kellogg's. And Kellogg's are a very, very good company to work for. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, the more senior I got, the more I had to look after budgets and things like that. So even though my role was sales and marketing, it wasn't. I wasn't able to just completely divorce myself from finance. So when I had a finance business partner who kind of said, "Look, you've got to get this," and like, you know, and she was saying that, "Oh no, on the balance sheet that does this, and on the P&L that does that. That's different, and this thing, like you pay it all now, but on the forms or on the sheet you accrue it over a month." I was just like, "This is why I didn't get into finance. Right. Why do I have to do this?" I was like, do that. I hated it. Absolutely hated it. It just didn't make any sense to me. My brain didn't work that way. And don't get me wrong, I've got, you know, A-level in maths and I've, you know, a degree in engineering and stuff. So the maths side of things wasn't the problem. Do you know what I mean? It was the rules that on this sheet that goes in there and that goes in there, and just all these rules that were around it. And obviously there has to be, because everybody has to do it the same way,
right?
For legal purposes. But I just couldn't get my head around it, and it was years and years and years that I just dreaded, like year end and things like that. That I had to try and get it. I was just not for me. That's what. It's not a direct reason why I retired before 40. That was a different thing, but it was. But yeah, it probably did kick me over the edge. I just couldn't be arsed with it. The thing I hated about working for a big company and doing things like that, you know, you do a budget. You'd go bottom up with a budget. You know, so you go to all the sales guys. What are you going to sell next year? I build it all up. Say, right, this is my budget. That's what I'm going to sell next year. Take it to the board, and the board would go, "That's not big enough. Make it 10% bigger." So it'd be like, okay. Make it 10% bigger, give everyone a 10% bigger target, and at the end of the year, everyone missed the target by 10%. And it was just like Groundhog Day, year after year after year. And I was just like, I can't be arsed with this anymore. Anyway.
I don't know about Kellogg. I mean, in industry, I think it's a little bit different, but certainly like for accountancy firms, the people, I mean, okay, I remember one time I was sitting next to this lady called Pauline, and never really spoke to her. She always seemed a bit square, a bit, I don't know, but one morning I remember, Monday morning I went in there and I was like, right, I'm really going to make an effort with her. And there'd been an email going around, for anyone KPMG, there's a new bar just outside on Friday. For this day only, you're getting a discount or free, whatever. I can't remember what it was. So anyway, we got that email around, and I'd gone there obviously Friday night as soon as that email went around. And Monday morning came around, sat down, Hey, Pauline, how are you? How was your weekend? Yes, fine, thank you. And carries on typing away. And it's just like, okay, yeah, remember that bar that we got the email around? Yeah, I went there on Friday night. And she's like, look at me, what? Why are you telling me this? And it's just like, oh, I don't know, Pauline. I don't know. I'm now asking myself the same question.
Why are you talking to me like I'm human?
And yeah, that was, I know that's my experience of accountants in big firms, but there we go.
So I'm guessing after like, that being your career, going to a foreign country to teach English as a foreign language must have been pretty liberating, I guess.
Yeah, that's the thing about teaching, right? You're dealing with people, so as much as learning formula to grammar or whatever, a large part of it is just getting that connection with people, right? And people are going to listen to you and learn from you if they actually like you, right? So a large part of it. And when I first went to Korea, I was teaching small kids, which is great. I mean, small kid, we're talking about age kind of 5, which 5-year-old kids are great, right? You can do anything silly and they'll just start laughing, right? Like blow a raspberry or something like
great
that.
Audience.
Like, oh, this guy's a comic genius. You're like, so yeah, good confidence booster.
I just want to say hello to. I realise I haven't said hello to people in the chat section for now, so I won't name names, but I'm seeing the same names and some new ones, which is good. But yeah, whether you're on Twitch or on YouTube, if you've got any questions for Laurie as we're going along, fire them through, because I don't want to do the work all night. So it's just fire through any questions. Jill says the inspirational teachers stay with you for life. What do you mean, like? That sounds like in a cellar or something like that. That's like that's not supposed to happen. So yeah, if you do have any questions for Laurie, please send them through in the comment section. But just be known that are you Muslim? What are your pronouns? Do you support LGBTQ? And
do you work at Asda?
Black Lives Matter. Do you work at Asda? All the TikTok ones, we don't want to hear them, all right? Because we haven't got the filter set on for them, so we can't get rid of them. So if you've got any questions for Laurie, fire them through. I
answered that genuinely. I didn't realise in my live about a week ago, it's like, reading through the comments, like, no, I don't still work at Asda. What, why? What? And then a couple of days later, I saw one of the videos. Oh, okay, right.
I don't know why it is. It keeps cropping up, and I don't know why it is. I think the first time I answered it, I said, no, I've never worked for Asda, but when I was at Kellogg's, I worked on the Asda account, and I spent a lot of time at Asda House. I was like, blah, blah, blah. I was like, and then it was like, you've tricked me. I don't know what the point is, but...
So at which point did you, when you started teaching English, did you realise how ridiculous the English language can be?
Yeah, good question. Probably not, probably a few years later, because like I say, at first I was teaching children and obviously pretty basic stuff, right? Go through phonics, etc. But yeah, once you start teaching adults, especially when it comes to things like idioms and phrasal verbs are a great. Okay, so my wife's Korean, and great example of a phrasal verb. She'd heard a phrase from me, and she was trying to use it in conversation. She was saying, he just met that girl, and then he knocked her out. I was like, oh wow, this is pretty brutal. She's like, no, she had a baby. I was like, knocked her up. Right. I was like,
both are bad.
Why does that? There's such, it's just a quick change in preposition, and it goes from being a horrific story of domestic violence to a happy story of a new family. But
is it one of the most confusing phrases? How do you do?
How do you do?
Yeah.
How do you do? Why? What do you mean?
Because it in a lot of languages it doesn't actually mean anything, does it? Because it's quite an English phrase. It's how do you do what is what most people say. Yes.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah.
I sort of thought a literal translation is a bit odd, isn't it? How do you do? How do you do what?
we use it daily, don't we? So
I've never even thought of that. Yeah, that's how entrenched it is, right? Yeah, now you break it down.
I'm pretty sure I've never said it in my life, Baz. You say you use it every day. I'm pretty sure I've never said, and how do you do? I don't think I've ever said it.
I don't say it like that.
How do you do? I don't think I've ever said it. I don't remember saying it. But, I was never brought up in Downton Abbey. So,
there's your next video.
Yeah.
We do have a really good question here. I'm going to bring it up. It's a long question, so I'm not sure how much will come on screen, but let's have a go. All of it. Pubman Dan, who was one of our guests week before last, I think it was, or was it last week? It was last week. Which annoys you most? There, or there, your, or something else entirely?
Like I say, I'm not a grammar Nazi, so I don't typically get annoyed by these things, especially when it comes to online writing. I just see it's a bit of a free for all. Having said that, should have winds me up quite a lot.
It's amazing. It's so mad. And also, if you ever point it out to somebody, people go, "What are you on about?" Everyone says should have. No, should have.
I did it in one. I did one of the many TikTok videos I've done of like 5 things that irritate me.
Right.
That was one of them. I just can't say should have and could have. It's just.
It's the one. So things like I suppose yours probably the same. But okay. For example, the there and there. I mean, there's no kind of logical reason why one is one and the other is Whereas with should have, there's a fairly it's a fairly,
doesn't make any sense.
Just following the rule.
Yeah.
And on that note, there's a couple of American. I'm not one of these British guys who gets angry at Americans speaking English. I love a lot of the way Americans.
Leave that to me.
But yeah, what's the one? I could care less.
I could care less
because again, it just doesn't make sense. Yeah. It's the opposite of what you're trying to say. So.
I've spent a lot of time with Americans because like Kellogg's is an American company, and we worked on the Asda account, which was owned by Walmart, which is also an American company. So I was over in the States 2 or 3 times a year. And I've never, ever heard someone say, I could care less. But apparently it is a big thing, and that's just what they say.
Right.
And it's just, maybe just I'm so scintillating company and gregarious that nobody ever told me that they couldn't care less. I don't know. Maybe not.
I've highlighted that in the past by telling people to change the word less to fuck, and that makes easy sense for people then. I could give a fuck or I couldn't give a fuck.
Yeah, I like it. But actually, another American word as well, which, if a team is top, okay, Manchester City at the moment, they've won the most games in the Premier League. How would an American describe that?
I know what you're going to say.
Go on.
Americans say winningest.
Yeah, it's just an ugly word, isn't it?
Oh,
they're the winningest team.
I love that we're all here together. This is exactly what Lockdown Lock is about. I told people when we started this, it was going to be middle-aged. I'm sorry, but you're with us now, so that's it. Middle-aged blokes having a drink in a pub and just chuntering and moaning about stuff. It didn't sound too good, but this is exactly where we've got to. It's tremendous.
Those bloody kids.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Here we go. We've got. I think this is Kathy. I always forget who Fairfield 62. I think it's Kathy. Think instead of. Oh well, Kathy, you've put if instead of. So if you're going to start questioning people's grammar, you've done it. You've stumbled.
You're cancelled.
Thing instead of thing grinds my gears. Is that I don't know if you do. As part of your linguistic stuff, is it when you do regional things? Is it a regional thing? Is it a dialect thing, or is it just people?
What was that? Sorry, because I can't see the comment.
So think instead of think and thing instead of thing. So using an F instead of a TH.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I usually tend to stay clear of pronunciation because there are such big regional differences. Scone, scone. I mean, they're both listed in the dictionary. In the dictionaries as standard, so I kind of tend to stay clear of that. Having said that one, using an F sound instead of TH, that's. I mean, it's not
criminal.
Standard.
Is the word you're looking for?
That. But I normally stay clear because this is the thing, right? When you start, because my master's degree, which I did kind of halfway through my time in career. Was in applied linguistics, and linguistics is all about descriptivism. There's no value judgment. You just describe what people say. So you'll say, okay, British people, when they come up with this construction, they say either should have or should have. And, you might say should have is done 65% of the time, should have is done 35% of the time. And it's, it's all kind of like value free. So a bit of, some people think that's the way it should be. You should never try to prescribe what language should be. I don't think that's realistic, to be honest. But when it comes to pronunciation, that's kind of the attitude I take. I normally step back and say, well, you know what? There are so many variations throughout the world. Go on.
There's a video on TikTok at the moment, and I can't tell if it's done deliberately or not, but I've screenshot it because I'm going to do a TikTok about it at some point. And it's an advert for a course that improves your English pronunciation. Okay. Mm-hmm. But the guy says, "Do you need help with your pronunciation?" I was like, that's his first line. And I'm just like, whoa, nobody spend money on this course.
Right.
He's heard the starting gun and he's ran full face first into the first hurdle. I was like, pronunciation. No, son, no.
There's a direct correlation between the shortening of words, though, about the same time that text became a thing. Because obviously you had limited characters back in those days. So I think it was 140 or something back when you had a Nokia on those networks. So people started taking single letters off to get more words in. There's definite correlation between that. Like lots of text speak has been put into sort of everyday use now, purely because if you were trying to get things into 140 characters, you wouldn't have to go onto a second text if you got rid of the T in thing.
Right. OMG, LOL, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
My mum, who's 72, has always and still puts TTFN at the end of her. So
ta-ta for now.
Ta-ta for now. She predates all of this. Okay, she's been saying that for ages. Even like with even before text messaging, she used to write TTFN on like a post-it if she was leaving us a note as a kid. So pretty sure she invented it. Right.
I'm trying to get my mum to get onto voice to text. I don't know if you've got into that, but that, especially as I'm replying to a lot of messages these days, this is, I don't know, quadrupled my output. It's so much. The only downside is you do have to double check it because it's pretty bad with homophones. You know, sometimes you're right. You know, I'm here now, and it'll be HEAR. Yeah. So I have sent a couple of messages like that. So, that's not good for the brand, is it? You know, if you do double check the messages, I can just smash out so many more messages by voice to text. I'd recommend it.
Well, the voice that I always caption all of my videos, and I used to do them manually, which took ages and ages. And the thing that takes the time is the timing of it. It's not the actual typing of words in; it's the lining it up with your voice sort of thing. Yeah. But what I've started to do is I've started to put videos through CapCut, and they've got an auto captions thing, and I'd say it's about 80% there. You just have to retype it, but the timings are perfect, so you just have to retype it. Anyway, I was doing one. So sorry, I am going to talk about decking boards. If you haven't seen that, Laurie, then that's pretty much all my TikTok's been for the last week. But the auto captions I did one saying that the Australians saying my boards are upside down. The CapCut auto captions, I'm glad I checked it because it said that Australians are claiming that my balls are upside down, which is a very different message.
Imagine getting banned from TikTok for that.
It was your app. CapCut's made by ByteDance. It's the inaccuracy of your own app that's got me booted out of here. Here's a question for Baz. Baz, do you put ice in your rum?
No, because it melts. It's pointless.
Isn't that why people put it in rum? Because it melts and cools it down? That's how it cools things down.
How much colder do you need a drink to be than it is at room temperature? It's simple, but how much colder do you need it?
I'd say about 15 degrees. Personally.
So no.
That's how much cooler, isn't it?
That's you. That's not me. So the question was for me. No, I don't put it in because I don't need it any colder.
I've got an ice bucket next to me, and when I say ice bucket, I mean the metal mixing bowl off the food processor. That's what I've got as my ice bucket because I'm living the dream. Right. Any more questions from people? I'll say hello to a few people while we're here. I feel like people have got different usernames over here. Hello to Mickey. Mickey, sorry, I saw you come in and didn't say hello because I didn't recognize your name.
She's on YouTube because it's got a logo on it.
She's come in with a Sunday name, but she is on YouTube, so that's good. Rob's here. Kathy's here. Who else we got? Mr. House, don't know who that is. Si's here. Jill, Chloe. So say hello, everybody. If you are new with us, say hello in the chat section. Introduce yourself. And again, if you've got any questions for any of us, fire the questions through.
So I have a question I have a question for Laurie, and it's TikTok based. So obviously you've been on the app a long time now. Much like everybody who was on here, do you have your first followers the people that first started commenting with you when you were still under 1,000 and all the way through? Have you still got those people, and have many of those people become your sort of friends over the time that you've been on here?
Yeah, actually, and especially since I've been going back, I say in the last week, going through the old videos and uploading them to YouTube. So I've gone back. In fact, one guy who was commenting, who used to comment in all my videos, I'd always reply to him. But I saw him. It's like, well, I've not seen this guy for months. I don't know what's happened there. And sometimes I've had people who have followed me for ages who said, like, suddenly TikTok just stopped showing me. I have to type your name in and go to your page. And these are people, I get that the algorithm changes, but these are people who were like commenting on every video. So I find that really odd that sometimes happens. But anyway, this guy, I haven't seen him for months. So I just befriended him, and he straight away kind of like emailed me, oh wow, it's great great to hear from you, kind of thing. So we kind of reconnected there. And we got a couple of a few people, the hardcore Knox study crowd, been there from the beginning. So it's good to know. A few surprises as well. People I now know, and then I've looked in the first couple of videos. It's like, wow, he's been here since then. I didn't realize that. So and that's something I. Oh yes, go on.
No. I'm just putting my hand up. I'm one of those. I've been following you for ages before we actually communicated in real life.
Ah, really? But it was. I forgot what I was going to say. This is what happens when you get old, right? You go.
Oh, I'm the oldest one here, so I wouldn't worry about that.
It's not a question I would normally ask, but we're in a pub environment. How old are you?
41.
41. Okay.
You would be a child in this room.
I was going to say, yeah. Well, do you know what I mean? You have lowered the minimum and average age, because I'm 46 and Baz is 54 as of last week.
Newly 54.
Newly 54. He's like a new man. Life begins at 54. That's what he keeps telling me.
And then 55 and 56.
So, question for Laurie: do you speak any languages other than Korean and English? Bring that one through.
No, I'm ashamed of that. I should. Especially with European languages, in hindsight, having gone to Korea, European languages just seem like they'd be so easy now. I mean, you already know not quite half the words, but I'm sure if you show me, in fact, even my Dutch friend, I think Dutch is a language I don't know anything about. One of my Dutch friends on Facebook, he'll write messages sometimes, and sometimes I can understand them without obviously having ever spoken, nor will I ever speak any Dutch. But there are so many obviously common words that we share. I think a European language. If I ever have the time, if I win the lottery and can have the time to not work 12 hours a day, I will. I think I would like to get stuck into a European language.
So you just mentioned that then, and that's something that I wanted to talk to you about. And obviously, if it's too personal a question, then don't answer it, obviously. But what's your day job? What do you do? You say you work 12 hours a day.
Well, I'm teaching as an at school, and then in the evening, I'm doing Zoom classes basically with the old Knox study thing. So I originally started off with just to see where things go, and then I said to myself, once it started getting big, after a year, I'm going to reassess, see where things are. I've started doing like private lessons, 1-to-1, and also started doing a group classes that go through Patreon. I do Zoom classes. In fact, I've just finished one at 8 o'clock. So I've basically got my kind of day teaching job, and I come home in the evening and teach. So it keeps me honest.
You seem like one of the only people I know who've got something on Patreon that's actually worth paying for. Usually it's like, I'll do some extra videos for you that I won't show anybody else and things like that. But it seems like that you use Patreon as a way to, as just an easy way to connect people and handle the transactions, basically.
Right. Well, that's the thing, because like I say, it took me years to actually get online after umming and ahhing about YouTube for half a decade or more. And with Patreon as well, it took me a couple of months. I knew I was going to do it. It took me probably a few months before I actually made the jump. So I wanted to do something that's a bit different, and you still want to provide some value. That's one thing I say. I think Gary V. Gary V.
Yes.
Yeah, he. One thing I remember him always saying, like, making content. Try to provide value, because you get a lot of younger people, especially students at my school, for example, who will do things like, oh, why is my TikTok account not growing? Like, what do you do? Oh, look, I did this dance and things like that. And just like, you're one of, I don't know, 50 million people putting out a dance that day. I know you'll see what's her name, Bella Porch. You'll see people like that. That's one of, I don't know, hundreds of millions of people who try to do that. Be realistic. You're not, you're not going to do anything if you do it that way. You need to add value, as you do with comedy, for example. You know what I mean? Like you need to give something that people actually want and will use. So again, with Patreon, it's like, well, I can't just carry on doing the Knox study video, because that doesn't add value, does it? Well, I'll just watch them for free on so I started doing Zoom classes. So it's kind of interactive Zoom classes. So that's what, just like we're doing now, right? But so it's aimed at non-native English speakers.
Okay.
So there we go.
So the school that you teach, is that a local school, and is it a high school?
It's a secondary school, yes. So
yeah. Sorry, that's a linguistic breakdown with two different areas of the UK there.
Yeah, I didn't realise it again until probably when I was in Korea. I thought high school was only used in America, but I didn't realise.
My school was even called high school. My school was called Elton High School, and that's it. There are variants, differences, because middle school isn't a thing where I'm at, where I'm from. It's not even a thing. And neither was staying at school till you're 18. You leave school at 16, and then go to a college to do your A levels. There was
right.
Yeah, there is a bit of a difference around the UK. So it's so does that mean you're an English teacher? Do you just do the one subject? With it being a secondary school?
Well, no, believe it or not, because I don't have my English teaching qualification, so I'm actually doing the qualification now. And what they said to me, because my first degree, I have to teach business studies. So I taught.
We won't tell anyone.
I studied economics at university, and I said to them, "Well, look, I've got my master's degree in applied linguistics, which is hardcore English grammar. It's like real complex, going beyond just the simple like subject, verb, object, and talking about the semantics, etc." And they're like, no, so that we've always thought that that master's degrees are too specialised, so we only accept the bachelor's degree, which was their decision. But
that's mad. That's like saying I know you can run 100 meters in 9.8 seconds, but you can't teach people to do that because we haven't seen a qualification saying you can tie your own shoelaces.
Right.
Actually, just change. We have a bell in our house when we change subjects, so I'll ding the bell. As part of your sort of studying words and everything like this, I've explained this to you before. I have explained it to you.
It might have been late on in the night, because I certainly don't remember. You've got a bell in your house when you change your subject.
Yeah, so it's by the dinner table, and you're on a dinner table. Subjects like so. Hear me out before you pull that phase. When you're on a dinner table,
it's too late for that, Baz.
Yeah, one end of the table starts a conversation, and it works its way down. By the time that conversation's reached there, the other end of the dinner table has started another conversation. So the two don't interact. We have a bell to let everybody know that the other end of the table has changed the subject. It's just a quirky thing. So I would ding that right now. It's fine. Ignore that.
How many people are in your family? Because that's
I know
this
vision. Our dinner table seats 8 people, so when you've got guests around, so it can change. Anyway, that aside,
you all sit on one side.
Quite a lame question is: what's your favourite word?
Yeah, I get that. I always just answer Wednesday just for football purposes, but probably because of the etymology, I do love the word mortgage. Because I don't know if you know the etymology of that one comes from the French "mort," meaning death, and the gidge part comes from promise, basically death promise. You
It's
start
death levy,
paying
isn't it?
your mortgage, and that death
Pay
pledge,
till
I
I
think,
die.
is more accurate. So yeah, I think that's a pretty cool word.
Okay, so sorry, I'm getting into trouble now for Jill is shouting at me for not asking you about soju. Is that how it's pronounced? SOJU?
Oh, soju.
Soju.
Yes.
Sorry. She said, have you got any experiences of soju? She's got a horrific story. Unfortunately, she can't tell us because she's not on the podcast, but let's leave that one. It's probably best we don't. But as and somebody else said, it's an acquired taste, soju. So I have a question. What or where is soju, and why is it an acquired taste? And then, do you have any?
Okay,
I need a bit of backstory on it.
Soju is soju's kind of the national spirit in Korea, and it comes in basically a bottle about the size that you're drinking out of now. So when I first got to Korea in 2007, that was 1,500 watts. So a bottle of that soju was 67 pence. And it was 20%, but it wasn't. It's one of those, like with Stella.
20%.
I don't know about you, but Stella for me, it's got that reputation. It's 5%, but it's not. There was something about Stella.
It definitely punches above its number, doesn't it?
And soju's like that as well. And so like you say, you can 67 pence, you can get a bit of a buzz on, and then obviously for if you splash out and go for £1.34, you're having a very good night. So, but the thing is, I think it's entirely chemical, as in there are no natural ingredients that go into that cheap stuff.
No wheat or grain, like that.
Yeah, From what I've been told, again, I don't know if that's just some tale that gets, but anyway, what I've been told, there are no kind of natural ingredients going in there. I've had some of the expensive stuff, so you can, and it doesn't taste as disgusting. But for me, it was just, there wasn't really a taste. It's just a sharp, but it's the kind of thing where it's like kimchi, almost like every Korean knows. And you know what? When you go to the hospital and they ask you these basic questions about your health, one of the questions they ask you is literally, how many bottles of soju can you drink? And for me,
it's a challenge.
I was kind of like, come on, I need to talk myself up here. That's like so it's a weird question to get, but this is the thing. Like, there's such, it's obviously, you play better on your home turf kind of thing, because for example, my wife, who can't really drink that well, if we drank soju, she'd drink me under the table. Like she's spoken about, I've had a couple of nights, I've had like 4 or 5 bottles of soju. I was like, I remember pre-gaming drinking 2 bottles of soju, and that'd be one of those ones where I'd be out, and within about 45 minutes, no idea what happened. I'd wake up at home. People would be like, where did you go last night? No idea. Absolutely no idea what happened. That's on 2 bottles of soju and then maybe a beer afterwards. So, but yeah, like I say, many Koreans, they really struggle with beer. They get to like 2 or 3 beers. Lots of Koreans go bright red when they drink alcohol. That's that's a big thing in Korea. But yeah, like I say, get them onto the soju, and it's just
That's an easy roadside test, isn't it? That's an easy roadside test. If the police pull you over, you've got a bright red face. All right, come on, son. That's it.
I like the marketing campaign for that high-end soju. It's not as bad as the rest.
Yeah.
What a great thing. Can you get it in the UK? I presume it'll be some random Korean supermarket. But it's not like illegal or anything, is it? Like,
I think all the Chinese No, it's not illegal. I think all the Chinese supermarkets are now doing Korean food as well. Although I went to, in 2007, I went to North Korea for 2 days. And when I was there was this bottle called Strongman Soju, and the bottle was just shaped like some it was basically the coolest bottle you've ever seen in your life. So I bought that, sent it over to my brother, and he'd saved it for about a year. He and his friends had a night in, North Korean soju night, let's go for it. All of them had headaches for about 5 days afterwards, like really bad headaches. Like some of them were skipping work, kind of thing. and he's pretty angry at me. Like, yeah, you know, like you shouldn't have 5-day headaches after drink. And, you know, thinking about it, it's one of the countries in the world where they don't have any kind of health and safety or any of that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like, yeah, sorry, I did almost kill you guys, but you know, cool bottle though. It's you still got the bottle.
On our first podcast, we had the first night it was mainly about drinking, and we had to drink drinks that we hadn't drunk before. So I think if we'd have had that would have been a 10-minute podcast.
I love the way Bazzi said we have to do this. There was 2 of us, and we made the rules, but we had to drink. It was my the first podcast when I put the highlights onto YouTube. It's the short. Well, I was planning to put the whole thing on YouTube, but I thought I'll just have a look back at it. And yeah, I couldn't use it. I couldn't use any of the last hour. It was. I couldn't. Oh, I couldn't watch it. It was like watching CCTV in a pub you've been in all day. I can't watch that. So if anybody watches the first episode of this podcast, you'll notice there's a really abrupt cut after it. It's just like the rest of it has been deleted and will never be seen again. It was horrendous.
I should watch it because I don't even remember it.
Yeah. Well, Baz was saying we decided we'd try new drinks, and the one I decided to drink was both my parents are Glaswegian, so I felt it was my responsibility to try Buckfast, which is something that a certain type of person, I won't say it any differently than that, but a certain type of person.
Drinker
in and around Glasgow and other inner city areas drinks. And the irony is that in the petrol station that's got kind of a drinks section attached to it is like they've got like different headings above the shelving, and Buckfast was in the to impress section. I was like, I don't know who is getting impressed by a bottle of Buckfast. And frankly, I don't want to meet anyone who's impressed by a bottle of Buckfast, because I tried it here and it was awful.
Really?
Absolutely. Oh, it was hot. I didn't realise it's like a fortified wine.
Do you think it might have been a typo, maybe to depress?
I think it might have been. Right. So I want to come back to your brother later because I want to because you mentioned him before, and I'd like to just have a quick chat. I know I've got you on the show, not him, but you know. So we've got another question, which is Pubman Dan again. Do you have a favourite heteronym? I find them fascinating. I also have a supplementary question to that, which is going to have to come be first. What's a heteronym? And do you have a favourite heteronym?
I'm literally like, what?
So heteronyms are the
he's on the spot now.
Same names, but same words, but different meaning. So, for example, I think help me out here, Pubman Dan. So, for example, I think one word. One spelling, but it's got 2 completely different meanings. Like the word, like shot, for example, could be with a gun. It could be
a drink
shot. Yeah, like a. Oh yeah, there we go. Thank you.
Give us a shot.
That's a heteronym.
Well, we're waiting to see. We're bated breath in the. Here we go. Words that are spelled the same but pronounced differently.
Words that are spelled the same but pronounced differently. Okay.
Lead and lead.
Oh, right.
So resume resume. So resume to restart or a document of qualifications.
Ah, right. Okay. Right.
So Laurie, as part of my job here, I'm the Google man. So
Baz is my self-proclaimed sidekick. People think I'm being.
No, I put that down myself.
He named himself my sidekick, which makes me laugh all the time because I just every time I hear the word sidekick, I just go to like Sidekick Simon and Alan Partridge. So by default, that makes me Alan Partridge, which is a good and bad thing at the
Well,
same.
I was thinking of
at the
Batman
same
and
time.
Robin when you said that. So
There you go. Yeah,
I'll take it.
I'm happy with that.
To be honest, to be honest, there's an interesting question. Zach, would you rather be Alan Partridge or Batman? I'd struggle. Honestly, I'd struggle. I'm a big fan of Alan Partridge, not Batman.
So back to heteronyms. You said resume, resume. I'm struggling to think of many others. I mean,
is that the only one?
this is
Wales and Wales.
Oh, what?
Oh no, that's not it. That's two words spelled it there.
Right.
Homophones.
Yeah, the homophones, right?
Thank you. Thank you. I only remember homophones because I've got 3 kids. I've got I've now got 2 kids and a woman. I've got a 11-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 23-year-old. I think it was the 23-year-old who came home from school doing her homework and said, "Dad, what's a homophone?" And I was just like,
is that an instrument?
A, I don't know, and B, I'm just trying so hard not to crack a joke that's inappropriate for a young child. So it was.
So one of the ones I found is alternate and alternate.
Right.
So that's a heteronym.
Okay, yeah. So there's going to be a few like that, right? Where
There's hundreds on here.
Where they alternate between whether it's a noun and whether it's an adjective. So yeah, there's going to be a few of those, right?
So close and close is another one as well.
Right.
Same spelling, different meaning.
There we go. We're all learning here now. So yeah, let's just go back briefly to you mentioned your brother.
Yes.
And some people may know, and I didn't know because I was following you for a long time on TikTok. Before I saw you duet with him, and then all of a sudden it was just a massive penny drop, and I was like, "Oh, of course, of course, that'll be where the Knox comes from." Because I didn't know what Knox study meant because I didn't know your name.
Right.
And then I saw you duet with Robbie, and I was just like, hold on a minute, that's Robbie Knox with Knox. Okay, okay. And I felt really stupid. But I mean, to be fair, why would I put the two together? So if you didn't know, people listening, I experienced, or I heard or knew of Laurie's brother before I knew who Laurie was. He was on Soccer AM from, I think we just like in the quiz we determined it was from 2000 to 2007 or something like that. Back when it was really good. To be fair, with Soccer AM, I think it's actually getting back to being decent again now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think Fennes and Jimmy Bullard are pretty good. And what's he called? Tubes is still on it as well.
Oh, is Tubes still there?
Yeah,
Tubes is still there. Yes, post heart attack and hair transplant, which is quite a thing for someone so young. Can't be many people his age who've had both a heart attack and a hair transplant. But yeah, it was really interesting. I thought it was just one of those things where I saw the two of you together, and I kind of loved his work back in the day. But you're the TikTok guy, obviously, in the family, should we say? Is he your only sibling, by the way? Is he your only sibling?
He is indeed, yes.
He is. And is he older or younger? Or
he is 3 years older.
3 years older. Okay. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you're clearly the TikTok guy in the house. Because when I saw him, I was like, oh, when you duetted with him, I was like, oh, I'll have a look at Robbie's account. I went like that, and his follower numbers were quite small. I was like, oh, that's funny, isn't it? And then went kind of through to Twitch and YouTube, and he's obviously much bigger on Twitch and YouTube. So
right,
when you get together, do you just talk like social media, or do you not talk social media?
Honestly, we because I think he's obviously busy doing his social media stuff. I saw him on Sunday. Actually, went round to have a play on the trampoline in the back garden there.
All legal, all above board.
But
two households, all fine.
To be honest, at the moment, not in a bad way. We're not doing much talking because I think we're just both very busy. I actually tried to call him today My daughter suddenly out of nowhere, I want to speak to Uncle Robbie. Okay, but he's off up in Grimsby today at a brewery, apparently filming up there. So I mean, yeah. So do we talk? So no, we don't really. I mean, we'll say, oh, let's do something on Twitch, let's do something on TikTok. Yeah, let's do that, and then neither has ever mentions it again. So, I've been meaning to go on his walks on his YouTube channel.
I love them. I say I love them. I've seen a lot of them in terms of who he's got on and stuff. The only one I watched was the one he went on with Tubes. I just think it's a brilliant idea. Really, really good idea. What because you interview someone, it's just someone's interviewing someone again, but just go on a walk with them and that. So yeah, definitely, you should definitely go on one and be the guest.
Yes.
Be the guest on his YouTube walks. Yeah. So yeah, no, I didn't want to mention him. Didn't want to avoid mentioning him and all that kind of stuff. I didn't want to. But yeah, he was. When I saw that, I was just honestly, I'm 46. I shouldn't be fanboying over a 44-year-old man who is, with all due respect, isn't even that famous. So it was just like, I was like, Laurie Knox, Robbie Knox. I've not seen him for a long time.
Yes, some every now and then somebody will comment on TikTok. Oh, who do you think's more famous now? You or your brothers? Like I remember when he was on Soccer AM. Literally every time we went out, somebody would ask, come up and say hi to him, kind of thing. I think would they shout "tramp" at him from a distance? Yes, basically. I think in my 15 months now on TikTok, probably had, outside of my school, because all the kids recognise me, I think I probably had 2 people say, "Oh, I know you." So, having said that, we've not left the house for 6 months, so there is that. But yeah, so
do you feel that's going to change though when we're out of lockdown?
Well, it is for you. Look at your face. There's no hiding for you, is there? Do you know what I mean? Anyone who knows you, any one of your 160-odd thousand followers is going to be like,
I'm just going to do this.
I think actually, I'm a lot fatter in real life than I am on the internet, so I think that might throw people off. So maybe I'll get away with that. So there's a reason I'm always chest up. It
sounds like the perfect disguise.
Born with a good jawline.
That's brilliant. I often think that actually about. I mean, we're obviously nowhere near the kind of follower numbers you have, but I often think like, what would, because maybe at some point that might happen when you're out in public without masks and things like that. I think that will, everything that's happened to me and us and all that kind of stuff through TikTok, I find just ludicrous and it baffles me.
We talk about this daily, don't we?
Yeah, we do, and it doesn't feel real. Do you know what I mean? It's like the numbers. I'm saying we were going to talk about numbers because you know what? It's like you must be at a point now when you're saying I've got 680,000, next one's 700,000, and the numbers are. You've almost become accustomed to the numbers. When if you kind of step back and go 600, imagine what 680,000 people looks like. Do you know what I mean? That's right. That's like 3.5 times the number of people who go to Glastonbury in a year. Do you know what I mean? It's just like numbers.
Right.
Big. I mean, I'm at bloody 150 something. Baz is at 160 something. And you just think, it's ridiculous. It's really... And the other week, I don't know if you know, but... excuse me. They... a week or two ago, Baz had a post that went to 2.5 million people. Then a week later, I had one that went to 8.5 million people.
Jeez.
And then this week, I had one this week I had one that's now at 13.4 million.
Wow.
8.5 now.
Oh, is it? Sorry. But it doesn't feature my face. It's 8.5 seconds of me painting my decking with a broom instead of a brush.
Wow. Oh, yeah, that one. Right. Okay.
There you go. And it's like, I worked out because I mean, I used to work in analytics, so numbers to me, words to you are numbers to me. That I just find it fascinating that I worked out that if you kind of take the total view time, so it's 8.5 seconds long, but if you take the total time that 8.5 second video has been viewed, if one person was to view it for that long, they would be sat watching it for 2.5 years. That's how many people have seen it.
Wow.
And I was just like,
that is.
and it's 8.5 seconds long. And not only that, I worked out that what was it? It was, I think it's something like 7.5 million people in the UK have seen it, which is 10% of the UK population.
That is wild.
The numbers are just, and like I say, when numbers get that big, you just lose all concept of it. And I remember when, here's a kind of an analogy that kind of fits, is I did a parachute jump years ago, and hungover day after my birthday, but that's another story. But people said, were you not really, really scared? And I'm more scared stood at the top of a ladder 2 stories up by my house, because the ladder's wobbly and I can see the ground and I can conceptualize what falling from this height would do to me. When I was 13,000 feet or whatever it was up, and I'm sat on the edge of that looking down, it didn't even look real. So I wasn't scared at all.
Right.
And I think that's the same with numbers. It's like once they get so big, you don't have a frame of reference to kind of make them make sense. And it all becomes just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
In terms of, I was just saying, just to add to that, in terms of the numbers that you reach on TikTok, which is phenomenal, particularly with your account, like my account doesn't feature very much. I don't speak; it's just been bobbing around, changing clothes. Mike does a lot of talking, but obviously most of yours is
it's a bit more technical than that. It's not just you for a minute getting undressed. It's more than that. It's transitions.
I know, but
it's but my point is quality, very stylish transitions is what it is.
Well, thank you very much. But my point being this is your stuff is really educational. So with your reach, you're actually. Do you feel sometimes that? Does it lighten you that the fact you're making a difference to some people? Because obviously education is quite key across the board, and like with the numbers that you're reaching now, and do you feel that you've got to be a little bit more precise about the things that you say, more so than you did at the beginning of it?
Yeah, definitely. You notice the beer examples have kind of fallen out, because I still get people now. I used to mention Punk IPA, and it used to be Coldplay, Sheffield United, and Punk IPA. I was a 3-trick pony. And and then when I started teaching at school, I was like, okay, I'll probably ease off on the beer now. But I still get probably about once a week at least, somebody will make some comment about, oh yeah, but you'd love a pint of Punk IPA with that, wouldn't you? So I definitely have to.
That's why I went out and bought that. So I obviously remember the days when it was
back of the Punk IPA days. Definitely you have to kind of be a bit warier, right? And I mean, the cancel culture kind of thing. It's
dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah. So I mean,
I'm not going to lie, Laurie. Every time I've sent you a WhatsApp, I've read it about 15 times. I know that the type of person you are, you wouldn't judge me on it, but I must have read it. I definitely like read it about 15 times before I sent it, and just triple checked all my spelling and grammar.
Honestly, I probably wouldn't even notice. I get that people do that with me, like message, like, oh, I can't believe I misspelled that. It's like, I wasn't even looking for it. So like I said, I'm not a grammar Nazi.
But that's the fear you put into people. You see, that's inadvertently that's the fear that people have. Just so you know, there you go.
And that's another common one I've had. People saying, I'm always too scared to comment on your account. It's like, no, please. I'm really not like that.
No, please. Comment badly so that people correct you, and that boosts the algorithm, because it starts a whole level of interaction I wasn't expecting. So, sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, I think that point about numbers again is the fact that TikTok's one of the only platforms I know that you can actually grow a reach. I mean, you could try as hard as you want on Instagram, but it's very caged in. YouTube, you've got to work really hard at, and your content's probably not going to fly for a long, long time. You have to post a certain amount. This app gives you the opportunity, if you're lucky. And let's face it, we said the other day, a lot of stuff to do with TikTok is like you make the content, TikTok decides who gets to see it. But particularly with your content, because I watched your live today, that it is so educational that if you make a mistake, you get jumped on. As well.
Yes, yeah. And
sorry, I was just a question I meant to ask you, that was all.
No, I mean, And sometimes I appreciate it. There've been a couple. In fact, there's one recently. What was it? Yeah, the definition of ad hoc, and what I said was fine, but for some reason I put a slightly different definition on the subtitles, and somebody mentioned that. So I like it. It keeps me honest. So I don't mind that stuff when it's genuine. But yeah, you do get a lot of people, like especially when it comes to exceptions to rules. Because I'll say this is a rule here. And I get bored. I'm not going to say in every single video there are exceptions to this rule, although I quite often do. It's a bit like, if I was teaching my kids, for example, how to write, which I probably should do quite soon. And I said to them at the end of every sentence, put a full stop. Okay, that's good advice, right? And then you'll kind of build up. But some people just jump straight on that. No, it's not always a full stop. What about a question mark or exclamation? That kind of stuff winds me up a little bit. Where it's like, come on, you're just nitpicking here. You're just looking for a problem. If it's like, hey, Laurie, you said this definition of ad hoc, but you actually put a different one which doesn't quite make sense. Okay, I'll take that. But when it's the nitpicking stuff, that kind of. Yes,
mate,
that's a bit annoying.
I embrace the nitpicking because quite often
you're the king of it.
Quite often, people correcting me is the only thing that's pretty much driven my account in the past few weeks. I did that video of me. I was just doing it. I was out there. I wasn't even going to film it. I was out there because last year when I painted my decking, I did it with a brush and I got really bad back. I was laid up for a couple of days and stuff, and I was just like. So I was like, just after I'd done it, I said this on TikTok because someone said, why don't you use a broom instead of a brush? I was like, it's brilliant. Long handle. It'll go really quickly, all that kind of stuff. So I did it this time. And Emma saw me watch something. My wife, Emma, she saw me doing it and said, you should do that with Kelly's sound. That show me a life hack and all that kind of stuff. And Kelly's a friend of ours. So I was just like, yeah, let's do that. So I posted it and then it just went nuts. But yeah, apparently in Australia, you don't put your decking boards ridge side up. You put them ridge side down. Who knew? Certainly not me. But the number of patronizing people saying, imagine putting them up wrong, but not just questioning, saying, is that how you put them on? Just you've done that wrong and all this kind of stuff. So I've got honestly, I've done 3 or 4 videos on it now, and each one of them's had loads of views and loads of comments and loads of interactions. So I'm just milking it for everything it's worth.
Right.
I'm just like, look, inadvertently. So I quite often post rationalize when a post does well. I never ever plan for a post to do well because I just think if you get too caught up in I'm going to do something that the algorithm's going to like, you lose sight of what you like and enjoy doing and what your audience like.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But anyway, post rationalizing that one was just like you got a bunch of people saying that's a brilliant hack and sharing it. It's been shared like 40,000 times or something. It's ridiculous. Wow. So there's loads of people sharing it with people saying, when we do our decking, let's do it this way, sort of thing. You got loads of people saying, yeah, but it's not going to last, is it? It'll be peeling after a year and all this kind of stuff. And then you've got the Aussies going, what the hell? Your deck boards are upside down. So inadvertently, this 8.5 seconds that I didn't even plan to put on the internet, the wife just said, why don't you do that? The most 3.5 million views. It's just
the most bizarre thing about that at all. The actual boards are literally the co-star the backdrop of this video. It's got nothing to do with the actual boards. It's just a painting, and literally that's the thing that's driven it. So people are strange. I think.
Right.
It's one of the idiosyncrasies of TikTok. I think that you just interaction is interaction. So if people slag your stuff off, not only are they boosting that video, but they're going to see more of your videos because they're interacting with your video. Right. And it's just like you get a load of people on TikTok who are just like trying to pull you down and trying to slate you and all that kind of stuff. It's like, oh, this is crap, this and that. And I'm saying, you do realize by saying that and not just swiping past, I'm doing a video about it tomorrow along these lines, which is, if you go like that, you'll never see me again. If you go, you'll probably see me on your FIP for the next few weeks.
Right.
Think about how you react to stuff you don't like.
It's so what's what I'm looking for here? The algorithm there. It's so I know it is really, really precise. I remember watching one video, Donald Trump. I know it's quite. He said something quite funny. I can't remember what it was. I just liked it, carried on with my life, and then the next 2 days, I was just inundated with right wing, Ben Shapiro, those kind of people, just real hardcore right wing American. And like you watch the first 2 or 3, and then after a while, it's like, gee, not again. Just like swiping up. And honestly, within about 48 hours, they'd all gone. So they went from thinking like, oh, this guy's like a hardcore Republican to okay, don't ever show this guy anything again. Within 48. So it's pretty reactive. I was impressed by that.
Yeah, all Ben Shapiro videos I've happened upon on YouTube always say stuff like, "Watch this left-wing snowflake get cancelled by Ben," and you watch it and you go, "No, actually, she completely schooled him in that conversation."
He just speaks very quickly, doesn't he? He just speaks very quickly, and I know that's what I could never do, like a televised debate or anything like that, because you get people like Ben Shapiro who just talk very quickly and talk over people, and then it's just like, like you say, the headline be, "Oh, look, Shapiro smashes this person." It's just
that's just a headline.
Loud,
I saw one that was something like, "Oh, Ben Shapiro doesn't stand for the BBC's bias," or something like this, and they just asked him some awkward questions, and he went, "Well, if you're not going to talk about this and you're going to talk about that, and you've just got me on to slate me, then I'm leaving." And he just took his microphone.
Oh, with Andrew Neil, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the same video could have been headlined, Ben Shapiro spits his dummy when someone calls him out for being the dickhead he is. Do you know what I mean? It's the same thing, but that's not what it was. That's not what it was titled as.
Can we talk about obviously with the big number that you have now, you were talking about sort of moving on to YouTube and adding some content on there. I think it's probably a lot of people are talking about moving up from TikTok to YouTube now, because obviously the short form, even though YouTube are trying to invest in the short form now, the long form probably suits your kind of content more though, doesn't it?
Yeah, yes and no. So I did a few YouTube videos last summer, longer form, and it's good, but at the same time, I think part of the reason why I did well is that I could get on TikTok. I could get one concept and very quickly get that out. I think lessons are great when you just have one concept to teach and you make it as simple as possible and you drum that into people, and then off you go. Whereas obviously on YouTube, if you're just teaching one concept over 10 minutes, it gets pretty boring, right? And then if you widen that, if you're teaching more than one concept, I think that makes it a more difficult lesson. Certainly teacher training, that's one thing you're taught. It's just try to get one goal of the lesson and make and have ways to make sure you've reached that goal by the end. Like ways to assess the students to make sure you've reached that.
Yeah.
So I think TikTok's really good for that, because 59 seconds is enough to keep people's attention and to teach most kind of single issue points relating to grammar. So YouTube, I obviously it is useful for people who want those longer lectures. I don't think it's going to do as well as TikTok though.
I think part of the thing as well, obviously on the analytics that you're able to view on TikTok, it gives you some stats about your gender following. Do you think it'd be useful for you to know what the kind of age demographic was? Because obviously your content is like being educational. Do you aim mainly at younger people, or is it just literally it doesn't matter to you?
Yeah, no, never really thought about the aiming towards one group. No, I've never really thought. What? Does it tell you your numbers by age group?
It doesn't. It just gives you gender is the only one it really gives you in terms of a specific breakdown.
Right. Okay.
So it's only the contentious one that they tell you. They don't.
Not
the one that's fat.
Yeah, your pronoun.
The only analytics, I don't really check the analytics at all. The last time I remember looking a few weeks ago was to do with the country breakdown. And
where are you big in?
What is yours?
UK, and it's all the English-speaking countries. That's the thing where mainly probably about 50% of the English-speaking countries. I was originally thinking about doing it for the non-native English speakers, but then a couple of the early videos, I suppose, which because I think my first video went pretty well. Got 100,000 within the first day or two. Like my first video, so it started off hit the ground running. So and that was about the etymology of the surname Fitz. So that one obviously appeals more to native English speakers, and then put out a few videos aimed more towards non-native English speakers. Yeah, they did okay, but then I put out one about the calendar months being different. The numbers and the names of the months not matching up, and which again is going to appeal more to native English speakers rather than somebody trying to learn English as a second. So the biggest videos will always just happen to be the ones that appeal more to native English speakers.
Right. Yeah.
So I think about 50% of my following are UK, Canada, Australia, US. So
maybe you're a safe haven where people can come to learn the mistakes that they're making, and they don't need to. It's like the everything you wanted to know about English, but were afraid to ask. Sort of.
Right.
Maybe that is. Well, I just need to say, lads, we've made it. This is official. We've made it because we've had 2 comments in the comments section trying to sell us followers. So we're getting spammed in the chat section. So that's it.
Nice.
We're
I was just about to sign up as well.
Sorry, I just blocked him, mate. I'll try and dig it back out. I don't know how to do that, but it's that's the way it is. Okay, so let's. I want to try and keep these to time. So last orders. So last questions for anyone. Baz, I've lost my coconuts. I thought I had my coconuts.
Oh no!
I've lost them. Yeah, I've got for Laurie's benefit. I've got 2 coconut bowls that have got lots of short questions in there. Yeah,
well,
exactly.
I have one last question for Laurie, just based on obviously. So, with people coming out of lockdown now, people going back to work, there's a lot of thought that TikTok's going to change a lot because people who have all day to make content and post regularly probably aren't going to have that anymore. How's your how do you think your TikTok's going to change once the world starts to open up again? I mean, your reach might not be as big on a daily basis, but obviously you've got a big following, so those people are still about. How do you see that your content's going to be changing, or are you just going to keep it the same?
In terms of amount produced, yeah, I mean, I've been back at school since about 6 weeks ago, and so obviously I'm not going to be producing as much. I always try to make sure I can get one out a day.
Yes,
don't always succeed, but so I mean, I would imagine I will probably be in the area of 10 to 15 per week. That's probably going to be, because I obviously smash a few out at the weekend, so not as much as sometimes, like over the Christmas holidays, for example, probably getting good 4 or 5 videos out a day. But that's the way it is. Not much we can do about that.
Right, we've got a couple of questions coming through. We have. This is perfect for a quick fire last orders. That's what we call it. Obviously we're in a pub, so last orders, quick fire questions. What's Laurie's favourite animal and why?
I love that. Say koalas, because if you've ever seen koalas, they are so ridiculously cute. Kangaroos. When I went to Australia, I remember kangaroos. Really disappointed. They're angry animals, aren't they? They're really angry.
Awful things.
Yeah, horrible creature. Yeah, but koalas, it's like, wow, those things are ridiculous.
Placid, aren't they?
Cute. So
there we go. When I went to Australia, I saw a koala at some kind of, I don't know, animal sanctuary or whatever like that. And the lady was holding it. I went to stroke its hair, and she was combing his hair with a metal comb. And I went like that to stroke his hair. She hit me on the back of the hand with the metal comb and said that the oils from my hand would harm this poor creature. So,
oh, really?
I'm emotionally scarred from my koala experience. But aren't they the only animal that gets syphilis as well? Chlamydia.
Chlamydia.
Is that right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Wow. Anyway, that's clearly only something we can say in the confines of the brace of readlings, not on TikTok. Do you have a favourite phrase or saying?
Favourite phrase or saying? I mean, off the top of my head, because I've just taught it, probably have to go with hair of the dog.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah,
I was gonna make a video about this actually. I didn't have enough time between my lesson and doing this. I didn't have enough time. Do you
So this is a preview.
Yeah, do you know where the phrase "hair of the dog" comes
No,
from?
but, literally,
No.
I'm dying to
But
hear
I
now,
love. I'm desperate to know.
Because the belief a few hundred years ago in the UK that if a dog with rabies bites you, you can cure it by taking some of their hair and rubbing it on the wound.
That is amazing.
Thank God for medical advances.
But and I didn't. Was it in Wikipedia where they said? I know there was one website where it said both the are neither that remedy for rabies or the alcohol remedy the next day. There's no scientific evidence behind it. The one about hair of the dog not working in terms of alcohol. How? I mean,
it's always worked for me.
Clearly,
same.
works, right? I mean, think about it. I mean, if you've got like some sort of chemical in your system, and you go from 100 units down to 0 units.
Yep.
Clearly, your body's not going to be happy, right? You want to slowly wean yourself off it, right? Which is basically what you're doing with the hair of the dog, right? And I wasn't impressed with whatever website that was claiming it didn't work, because it does.
Yeah, I've been drunk since the 30th of March, so.
Yeah, I've been drunk since I was 15. I think we've covered this one already. We've had an update. So we should have a jingle for chlamydia update. Ding 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 ding. Chlamydia update is that.
Hold on.
Koalas. Oh, he's gone. I've offended him. Oh, no,
It's the bell.
It's the chlamydia bell. Right. So apparently Jimmy B, who I trust wholeheartedly because he's in the comment section on Twitch, says,
is that Jimmy Bullard?
Yeah, I think it must be. He says that koalas, and I've gone, I'm reading it out, and I know this is going to come out of my mouth. But before we were saying that Sidekick and I am the Alan Partridge, this is the most Partridge thing I'm going to say so far. It's like, fact of the day, koalas are not the only animal that get chlamydia, but they do all have it. Now, yazoo.
They all have it.
They all have it, so just be careful.
Wow.
Just be careful.
Yeah, good.
Just be careful how friendly you get with these koalas that are very, very cute.
You can't even choose one. They're all the same.
Wow.
Pubman Dan has come through with a blinder who said, you don't need a bell for chlamydia update. A clap will do.
Clap will do.
Absolutely tremendous. Right.
And on
last
that point,
man of the match for that comment.
Yeah, exactly. Last one is Pubman Dan. Have you got any interesting pub-related etymology or lexicography? Other than hair of the dog.
Related. No, other than hair.
Other than hair of the dog, which you gave us for
I
nothing.
peaked with that one, didn't I? Pub related. No, I'm struggling here.
I guess most of them would be around the names of actual pubs. Is about the only thing you come into. So there's huge stories about most sort of long-term pubs, aren't there?
Yeah. I mean, apart from individual names of pubs, we just had one here in Sevenoaks that was renamed. I'm surprised it made it to 2020. One of the 3 pubs on the high street, which was called the Black Boy, which unbelievable. And there were lots of posters around there just saying, "Oh, look, this is this name's a historic name. It's giving reasons for it." I'm absolutely shocked they made it to 2020 without changing that, but it's now the restoration. But there we go.
I'm trying to imagine, but not imagine what the sign outside. Did the sign outside? I'm assuming that for a number of years the sign outside the pub has just said the name of it. It hasn't had a picture.
No picture, no.
Actually, sorry. There's a point you just mentioned then. Obviously, the Sevenoaks itself is actually one of those named places that for the reason doesn't actually have Sevenoaks anymore, does it?
No. So apparently, we think it was probably Seven Oaks, but Senoak was the name.
Yeah.
But nobody's 100% sure. But then I think about 150 years ago, whoever was king at the time planted Seven Oaks in, I don't know, some centenary thing or whatever it was. But yeah, then a few of them blew down right in 1987.
But you'd think they would have changed the name, wouldn't they?
4 Oaks. 4 Oaks.
I
Four
walk
Oaks.
past that every day. You know what? I should. I don't think I've even counted. I should count. It's opposite the Vine Cricket Club. Yeah, I've never thought to count whether. I don't know if they replanted any or whether they're back up to 7 now. I'm not sure.
That was the year when was it Michael Fish?
Michael Fish, 87.
Yeah. He just went, I've heard talk of a hurricane, but nah.
We'll be all right. Yeah,
Don't worry about it. The day after, it was like, so Seven Oaks is now called Four Oaks. Sauce.
Kent is now the Flatlands.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Right, I'm going to wrap it up there. Honestly, thank you so much. I've had a really good time again. I just love this. Honestly, it was like the idea of this came from Buzz and I were just saying, look, why don't we just FaceTime each other once a week and just have a drink? And then we just said, do you know what? Why don't we just do it online? And again, I need to thank everybody who's in the comment section, everyone who's supported us. It's, like Baz was saying before, if you've got people who've followed you from the start, and when I do a 3 o'clock live where I have a coffee every day on TikTok, and they're all there. The Friday night quiz at 9 o'clock, they're all there. On this as well, they're all there as well. So apologies, I'm not going to go through. I'm not going to go through the names because I hate doing that, because I want to go through the names because I want to name check people, but I will miss 1 or 2 people out, and that makes me a bastard. So I'm not going to do it.
You can actually just say
you know who you are. Yeah, exactly. You know who you are. You know how much I appreciate the fact that you support us in everything we do. So thanks again for being here. Thanks, Laurie, for turning up. Laurie, don't go anywhere. We'll chat once we're offline. That's how we do things. Thanks again, everybody in that comment section. I very nearly started to name check people, but I don't want to do that because I will miss people out. But you know who you are. If you're on my 3 o'clock calls, you know I appreciate it. If you're on the quiz team, you know I appreciate it. And if you're here supporting us in this because it's new, you know I appreciate it. So thank you so much for being here. Thanks for Laurie for being here. Thanks, Baz, again for being the able sidekick. And see you again, guys. 3 o'clock tomorrow on TikTok for